This episode sponsored by Lake Monster Details, producing the Don's Light Magic Legacy line of parts, offering upgrade parts and decals for accuracy, special effects, and lighting. Visit www.lakemonsterdetails.com and make it glow.
Hey guys, Will here. Welcome back to Molly from Ensigns Chair. This is the third episode of the 1350 NX-01 Enterprise build, and I've gotten a lot done since last episode. Still on the saucer section, but I want to do the saucer section first because it looked like it had the most to be done to it. And when you look at the directions, there's just so many pieces that go into this, and a lot of it is the window inserts, which I'll talk about here in a minute. But I've gotten all the window inserts done for the upper section. Still got to do a lower section, but there's not as many in the lower section as there is in the upper, at least. It doesn't look like it anyway. But give me a minute. I'll put you on the table. I'll catch you up to where I'm at. Be right back. Alright guys, so here we are. I know my table's a bit of a wreck right now. I've got I got a lot of materials on my desk right now. I need to clean some of it off. But so anyway, I think when I left off last episode, I had finished, I had done the LED strip lighting, and I was starting on the secondary lighting. Remember I said I was going to break this down into 3 sections. I was going to do the interior lighting, the secondary lighting, which is kind of your spotlights and stuff like that. That's not included in the antenna controls kit, which is part of this build. And the third step was going to be putting in the antenna controls kit itself, which you can see I've got the navigational lights wired up. This one here is loose because it goes to the top saucer half. So I'll get that in place when I'm ready to put that together. But right now they're just here, got a little bit of slack in the wire so I can hook those up. And I've got my nav, or not my nav, but my strobe in place. So that's in place. And I've done a lot of the lighting, as far as all the lighting for the spotlights is done. I did, since last episode, I did add another resistor to the front lights on the hood here in the front. I originally only had, I think, about a 470 ohm resistor, and that's what I've got for the spotlights. And I didn't want those lights, those 3 lights, the 2 red and the 1 blue, which I'm doing. I didn't want those to be as bright as the spotlights. So what I did was I came back and added in another 1000 ohm resistor. So right now it's just under 1500 ohms. I probably could have taken it up to 2000 ohms, and maybe even a little higher than that. But it's fine, I think, now where it's at. It's dimmed it just a little bit to where it's not as bright as the spotlights. So so what I did is I got all that wired up, and it's kind of a mess here, a little bit of spaghetti going on here. And I've got everything coming out the back right now. And the reason why I've got a lot of electrical tape kind of holding these wires together is because I've got another circuit to add to it. Maybe 2, depending. I'm going to put in these blue lights that are supposed to shine out here. And I'm going to see if the interior lighting gives that enough light, or if I need to add some lights. I'm really not trying to add any more lights if I need to, but I did pre-drill 2 holes. I can put 2 or 3 millimeter LEDs there if I need to, but I'm hoping enough light gets in there just off the internal lighting to where I don't have to worry about that. I don't think those are supposed to be particularly over bright. They're not supposed to be as bright as spotlights for certain. So I'm going to see, I'm going to put those in place, and we'll take a look and see how much light is coming out of that and decide from there. I do want to say a couple things though as far as putting this together. For one thing, remember I told you I'm doing a little bit of a different technique for me. I painted the exterior of all the parts first. Typically I like to put it all together, mask off the windows, and then paint the exterior. But I don't have a window mask kit for this, so I figured it might be easier to just go ahead and paint it first. If you do that method, 2 recommendations. First of all, on the lower section, go ahead and put your sidewalls in first. Get those sidewalls in place and then paint it, because I had painted the bottom part and then attached my sidewalls, and I had a couple of issues with this. Had a really big gap at one point, so I had to come back, remove it, sand it down a little bit, and put it back in place. And there's been some fitment issues with with these sidewalls. I'm anticipating a bit of a gap back here because this sidewall doesn't quite meet up to where I think this is going to be an impulse, a secondary impulse goes. But you can see on this side where it completely meets up with that, but on this side there's a bit of a gap right there. So but I would get all these in place first, and I've got my own personal kit to do yet. When I do that, that's what I'm going to do. I'll put these on first, and then I'll paint the exterior of this. But another issue, and George McDonald, thank you buddy, pointed this out to me before I even got to this, but there's a little issue with, they've got these little brackets, and my viewfinder is cut out on me again, so hopefully this is in camera. You've got these little brackets here. Bring this light over, maybe help a little bit. Well, these brackets, as you can see right now, are blocking the holes for the navigational lights, and then this smaller light behind it. It's so it's completely blocking that right now. So what I'm gonna have to do is come in with my Dremel rotary tool, and I'm gonna have to cut this tab off now that's in place. So I would recommend put these in place and then remove this tab, because this tab is kind of essential to make sure that you get these lined up where they need to be. They've got a little bit of a raised platform that these go on, and then there's a little notch at these little spindles going to make sure that these are where they're supposed to be. So I would put these in place first and then come back, and just like I'm going to do, I'm going to cut this out so I can get my, and it's on both sides, it's the same issue. So that way I can get my navigational light in there. So just the only issue I've run into with this lower section, and like I said, thank you George for pointing that out to me before I even got to that point. He had already told me about that. So, and then I don't know how well these are going to show up, but I've got 3 holes drilled. I might have mentioned this last episode for that part there. So all in all, it's looking pretty good. And as far as lower section, like I said, the other thing I would say with this lower section is put all your windows in first. I did all my wiring and fortunately I didn't have too many issues with getting these windows in, but there was a couple spots right here I had to lift this up in order to get the window under it, and there's a couple little spots where I had to cut out some of the hot glue in order to make the windows fit. So I would say probably put these windows in place first and then do your lighting strips, laying out your wiring. That way you're not blocking anything up. I got lucky that you know, fortunately you can tell where the windows are going, so you know there's going to be something there, but I got lucky enough to where I moved the wires out of the way enough to where it didn't block a lot of these. And the great thing about this is when you put these windows, they molded the part number into the saucer section, so you don't even need the guide. You just look at the part number and it tells you what window goes in there. And the easiest way I found to do this was I started at the back. I started with this really long window back here. It's actually just 2 small windows, but it's a really long piece that goes between the 2. But I put that in place, and then I just kind of worked my way around and went alternated side to side, because what you're going to find is when you're going through these parts trees, for instance, once you get to 249 here, well, the other side's the same number, 249. So it's easy to come up and then just go back and forth because you got the same numbers. And then just work your way to the front. And the last ones I did were actually these little hockey stick shaped ones down here. And then these two windows on each side. So those are all done and in place. And like I said, I've got everything wired up. I've got my wires color coded to which wire they go to on the board. So the center wire here where I've got the red tape, that's my power wire. Now with these tenant control boards, basically all your power goes to the same source. All your power is going to tie into one wire. And your blinking effects for your strobes and your navs are actually controlled by the ground wire. So these are marked. Now you've got 2 yellow wires on this board. You've got a C1 connector and a C2 connector, and off the C2 connector, as far as I can tell, the only wire we're going to use off of that is the yellow wire. But because there's 2 of them, what I've done is I've taped these and I've marked it. This yellow one goes to the yellow wire on C1. This one goes to the yellow wire on C2. Now this other one, and this is for the This is for the strobes. Now, typically this would be a green wire, but you remember I had noticed that issue with the lights not working on the buzzards, and ended up that the green and white wires were swapped. So this is actually going to connect to the white wire on C1. So I've got those ready to hook up, and what I'm working on now is I'm trying to get some of these details done. You see I've got the bridge dome in place, and it's not glued in place yet because I'm not sure if I'm ready to glue that in place yet, but it's in place. I'm going to work on these two pieces now and get the blue parts painted with my transparent, my Tamiya transparent blue, and get those lit up and take a look at it and see if that light's going to be enough coming out of these holes I drilled to light that up sufficiently. But I've got all the windows in place. I've got the you can see my bulbs in place for the navigational, and then the plastic part that comes with the kit for this steady on light that's behind it on the saucer section. Now when we get to the nacelles, that's going to be different. This is going to be a behind that navigational, this is going to be a strobe. But on the saucer section, these are steady on lights that are behind these. So got that on. I've got my cargo bays, the spotlights on that done. So she's coming along pretty well. So what I'm going to work on now is getting, I'm going to get these two details done before I light this up. And when I come back, I'll have that done, and we'll take a look and see how it looks lit up. So give me a couple minutes. We'll be right back. Alright guys, so I've gotten some of the details done on this. You can see I've added these two parts. I don't know what these are called, but these two parts with the blue lights, and I've got everything wired into the tenant controls board now. So let's hook it up and take a look at what we got. Make sure I don't have any of these bare ends touching. Alright. Alright, so there we go. Let me turn this light off. Hopefully you can see it a little bit better. One thing I'm noticing though is that there's plenty of light coming through these, I guess these are kind of impulse domes here, but there's plenty of light coming through those, and everything else is lit up. Navs are working, our strobe light's working. The only thing I'm noticing is that on the inside I'm going to have to light block where the navs are, because it's making these lights that are supposed to be solid white behind it, it's making those change color every time they light up. So I'm going to have to change that, do a little light blocking. But I'm noticing too that these seem to have plenty of light as well, without putting a separate LED underneath of them. They're not supposed to be really extremely bright, so they'll lit up pretty well without it. But let me take the camera down here a minute and get you a closer look at it. But you'll see there's plenty of blue light, plenty of light coming out in these blue areas here. So we're really happy with that. All of our windows are nice and evenly lit. So everything's looking good on it. I just got to do the deflector dish up front here, which I'm not in too big of a hurry to do until I'm ready to put the saucer together. But I will start working on that. And let me point out one other thing too here with the buster collectors on the front here. I don't know how well it shows up on camera. The camera always tends to overexpose a little bit, but you'll see I've diffused it a little bit on the left here, and basically all I did was I took a cotton ball and took a piece of cotton ball and just stuck it in there and kind of spread it out over the LEDs to diffuse it a little bit, and seems to have a pretty nice effect to it. So I'll definitely be doing that on the other one as well, and I think that's all it's going to need as far as additional diffusion. That cotton ball kind of adds a little bit of a cloud effect inside there, so that works out pretty well. So let me put the camera back up and we'll turn the light back on. So everything's looking pretty good. A couple little things to iron out here and there, but I think the hole's pretty much, or the saucer section anyway, is pretty much done, and not getting as much light output from the spotlights as I like, but with that small of a fiber optic, you're not going to get so much light out of that. So it looks pretty good though. So anyway, saucer section's pretty much done. Just a couple little accents to add. I've got to do some details on the saucer on the edge. I can't do the edges though until after I get the saucer sealed up, and then I'll finish up these sections here. And there's a couple of other details to add, but other than that, it's pretty much finished. So next episode, I've got all my parts painted up here for, I guess this is the impulse deck, but I've got all these painted up and ready to go. And I've got the nacelles themselves painted up and ready to go. A little bit uneven on the top here, but that's alright because I'm going to have some seam work to do here once I get these together. But looking forward to working on these and getting these lit up. So we'll be working on those hopefully next episode. We should be working on them. And I like how this is coming together. It's been a pretty nice build so far. Not too much trouble out of it. A couple little issues here and there, like I said, with those little brackets blocking the light holes that I've got to cut out now. And other than that, it's coming along pretty well. So anyway, that's it this time, guys. I'm trying to keep this video a little shorter. I know the last two have been kind of long. So if you find anything here useful, please hit that like button below. Let me know. Hit that subscribe button if you want to see the future updates from these videos when they come out. And like I said, though, you don't have to subscribe, but please at least hit that like button below. Let me know how I'm doing. And till next time, keep modeling.